What's going on, everyone? So, from the beginning, we have seen FROMVILLE begin to change, right? Dating back to the first season when Victor is literally measuring the trees, trying to see, like, okay, how far have they moved? Have they moved, right? But season 3 made it the most apparent, right? Season 3, you saw the snow, and even Victor relates, like, it never snows here, right? Like, nothing ever changes. Everything is always constant, everything is always the same. You even see the boy in white is getting older. Like Victor is the one that's really noticed. Because, I mean, Victor has been there from the beginning, right? Well, not from the beginning, but you get my point, right? The last like 40 years, he's been there. So he knows how this place looks, how this place is perceived for, however long he's truly been there. And yet, what is causing the change of FROMVILLE, right? I think it's really two things. I think you can make an argument for several things, but I think it really boils down to two major things. I think one is you have like the reincarnation element, right? And I think this can be kind of split into two ways, right? In and of itself, right? You have the reincarnation element where Jade and Tabitha are getting closer than anyone else has ever gotten. Right? So much so that they finally unlocked their memories, right? They finally unlocked their past. And so they have their memories kind of funneling in. And we'll see how much, like, do they essentially have all of their memories? Or is it gonna be like kind of how Victor needs to kind of refresh and remember things, right? Is it something where Jade and Tabitha are gonna have to begin to unpack things and have to, like, maybe go explore the village or explore certain things and kind of, have those memories start flooding back in? I could see something like that. But I do think it's just the straightforward that Jade and Tabitha are discovering things that no one else, they've gotten to the farthest that anyone else has gotten to, since, FROMVILLE, since Tabitha and Jade were the original Tabitha and Jade, right? Because now they're, the reincarnated of Christopher. And that the other kind of side that I think about when thinking of like the reincarnation element, because like I said, I think you can split this into two things, and this is where I think the second element goes, is you have all of these characters that, how far does the reincarnation branch to, right? Like, is Boyd a reincarnated version of a previous Boyd? Is Donna, the reincarnated version of a previous Donna, right? Like, you go down the list over and over and over again, right? Is, Fatima the reincarnated version of the, the kimono lady, right? Like, or is it a bloodline thing, right? There's clearly a connection to characters, right? Because even like Elgin had a connection to this place even before he got there, right? Like, you've seen time and time again, characters have connections to this place, have visions or memories or nightmares or whatever of this place long before they ever even get there. So does that mean everybody's reincarnated, or does that mean that no, it's only a select few? But that also means that there has to be something that ties all the people of the town together. It's not random. Nothing in FROMVILLE is random, right? Everything has a purpose. Everything is very specific. Everything is very, structured and organized, right? Like even Randall said, the monsters do the same thing every night. They go to the same place, the same point, the same everything, every single night. Nothing changes about this place. So with that, you have to interpret that to everything, right? Like, people can't just be here for no reason. There has to be a purpose. There has to be a rhyme, a reason, whether it's a bloodline or a connection or a reincarnation, right? I think it's either, again, reincarnation, everybody's just reincarnated, it's just to a certain point, or it's like a bloodline descendant thing, where it's like, Boyd, if you trace his lineage, his great 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 grandpappy was, one of the original members of right? Like FROMVILLE, right? Like, I could see something like that where it's like this lineage thing. But even if it is a bloodline, or it is this reincarnation element to it, Victor as well as really Ethan, would have spoiled everything. And that's where I think another kind of potential, because the moment everything started to change was when Ethan got there, right? Everybody was supposed to die. Everybody, right? Like, but Victor ended up surviving. And I think him surviving threw a wrench into everything. Because I think that there is a point, based on the information we have, right, where everybody at some point gets wiped out. And it wipes the slate clean, and it starts fresh. It would make sense why Victor would have been there for so long by himself, because he would have had to wait for everyone else to kind of get to the age and the time in which they return, right? Because you see that there's young, old, right? Like, but there's almost never really any kids except for one, right? And then you're seeing the same thing with Victor. As far as we know, the only kid that there was Victor, right? Everybody died except for Victor. And I think it threw a wrench in everything, because I think that this place has its cycles, right? Like, so once it runs out of everybody, right, that it's supposed to run out of, then all of a sudden, boom, it wipes the slate clean, kind of repositions itself, and then, has the next cycle of new characters, but they're reincarnated versions of the past, right? Or bloodlines of the past or whatever, right? So it needs, because you keep seeing characters die and they get replaced with new characters. Okay, well, is that just random, or is there a purpose? What is it? Why? Right? A family dies and a new family comes, literally the same day, right? Like, you see it time and time again. Well, Ethan showed up, but Ethan can't be the reincarnated version of Victor, because Victor's still alive. So then where does Ethan come into play? Right? Where is Ethan kind of fit into this all? Well, now Ethan would be the one that would throw the wrench in it all. So now there's kind of this like almost odd bug or this virus in this place, right? Like, that isn't, there's something that isn't supposed to be in there. Like the human body wants to flush it out. I mean, it told Sarah to kill him, right? Why? Why do they care about this kid? Because it's throwing everything else through a loop. It's disrupting and affecting everything else, because you have everything is very specific. Everything is very orderly. And as soon as that order takes place, well then, now you need that adjustment. Now you need that fix, that correction. And Ethan is the one that they need to correct. And now you're seeing the change. You're seeing the evolution of this place, because it's no longer falling into that pattern. Almost kind of like, how like a body will flush itself out. You start getting fever, start getting sick, right? Like, so it's killing all the crops, right? It's doing all these things, but townspeople kind of keep figuring stuff out. Now you have Tabitha and Jade kind of coming to their realization, right? Like, I just think that is something that very likely could continue to play out as From progress. There has to be more to Ethan than meets the eye, right? Like, we have seen Ethan and Victor's connection from the very beginning. The boy in white has chosen Victor and Ethan from the very beginning. Ethan is constantly relaying information that turns out to be true and significant. I mean, numerous times a season. It's just usually stuff that's kind of like in passing. Right? Like, you go down the list and it's like the similarities, the connections, right? And if there is all this reincarnation, there is all this bloodline stuff or whatever, right? Like, Ethan being there would be the one kind of mess, right? Ethan being there would be the one thing that kind of throws a wrench in everything. That's why I think that I think that the reincarnation, Ethan showing up, I think is the most likely reason for the change. Because I just think Ethan, again, just kind of just threw everything out of whack. But I also think that you could argue that it's because of Tabitha and Jade keep getting closer and closer. Because, the snow and stuff started to come when Tabitha, leaves, right? Or is getting close to leaving, right? Crops start dying when Tabitha gets close to leaving. Also, Tabitha showed up at the same time Ethan did, right? And everything started to change. So I think it could very well be that. Like, those are the kind of the two things that I lean on and I think that are the most likely for the change in FROMVILLE, right? Like, I think it's either Ethan is kind of like the bad egg to this place, or the other option is that no, it's actually Tabitha and maybe even potentially Jade, because again, Jade got there at the same time too, right? It's got to be because of that group, right? It's also, I mean, you could even trace it to why the man in yellow killed Jim, right? Like, you can kind of keep adding to it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think it's one of those two options? Which one do you think is most likely? Do you disagree? Do you think it's something else? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.